What is that? In usual fashion, I've been busy off camera, but yeah, that's the new bumper shape. So what I've done is, from the last video, you've seen me finishing welding up that last frame piece there. I've actually refitted the top half of the bumper and sort of riveted it together where I can, you know, bit of reinforcement plates here and there, you know, to get this sort of shape, the original sort of shape. A couple of bits there and there. And then I've been to B&Q again and actually just got some bits of wood and then put them down as supports, you know, to screw straight to the bottom splitter. And that's just to keep that in its original place. This is a mould, you know, so I'm going to go over all this with carbon fibre. But yeah, I'm happy with the shape. There's a bit more reinforcements to do on the back side, but I think it actually looks better than the original. It's much more better. It's much better for airflow through the intercooler. I've just put these sort of bits, you know, that point the air towards the intercooler, and then the grill's going to be all one piece. So I'm going to take the mesh out the back. So the whole thing's going to be one piece carbon, which is much better and much easier and also much lighter. Because I think it was about, what was it, 7 kilos, something like that. 6 or 7 kilos of the old bumper. The new one will be grams, you know, it'll be under a kilo. The oil cooler I'm going to move up from this vulnerable position where it was down here. So I've got one actually here. So it's going to go back to, if you remember the run what you brunged it is, I'll put a picture in the screen now. It was here. And that's where it's going back. I've moved the radiator forward at the bottom very slightly, just so it's further away from the headers. You know, it's better because it was very tight. So yeah, I've just done that bit on the top of the, I need to clean it off with a flapper disc actually, but on the top of that little bracket, you know, that goes to the bottom of the intercooler, I just 45'd it and then welded it. So yeah, that's where we're at. So now, instead of having them stupid brackets that we had, can you see in the middle of the screen where them holes are going through to the splitter? That's where the original brackets came through, and then we had to bolt it to that subframe, and it's a bit messy. Whereas now, I'm just about to, I've got the bolts on me, I'm just about to put these are the new bolts. We've got some big massive washers, but I'm going to drill holes through that bar now, straight into the splitter, and then I'm going to weld the nuts on the top like captive nuts. So then all we'll need to do is put the splitter in the 2 pins at the back. Can I show you that? Maybe. Put the 2 pins in the back there. They're going to be replaced. Obviously the splitter's going to be all carbon, but put them 2 pins in. Tighten, put them 2 bolts in there. They're going to be replaced as well. And then in the front, you can just see the bar's tight all the way along now onto the splitter. So then we're just going to be able to put 4 bolts underneath that leading edge there, straight up into the splitter. And then we won't need them, because that bar's further forward, we won't need them support brackets that we used to have, you know, them rods that we had going down there like that. We won't need them anymore. So yeah, I think it looks a lot cleaner. Yeah, I'll put it up on a time lapse and I'll drill those off, and then we can remove the splitter again and then start laying it up with carbon fibre. I'll show you the process that I'm going to do with that. But yeah, we're nearly there. With regards to the back end, the hub's here. Let me take you in the back and I'll show you. Some more parts have arrived, but the hub's here, but the bearing's not. Yeah, so story behind these wheels. I bought my wheels and I bought a set for one of my friends, and long story short, he's not shout out Dan anyway, he's not going wide body on his car, so these have just been sat in the shed. Block his address out, let me just delete that, but it's got my name on it. So I think that's why he messaged me. He's like, they've got the set of wheels here with your name on it, and literally they've got my address on it. But yeah, literally 4 new wheels, brand new in the box, same age as my old ones. But yeah, so got all those. I've already showed you the hardware stuff. What else have we got? Hub somewhere. No, Teba's not come yet, but we don't need that yet. That's fine. Oh, this is it. This is what we want. This is the new hub. Oh, it's heavy, but yeah, new hub ready to go. That replaces that snapped one. You remember that anyway? But yeah, story behind that. There's no story behind that, but Tom at Sprinting Hair was going to sort me one out, and then my mate sorted me one through. I can't remember where. Probably import car parts, but yeah. Anyway, let's go and drill this. So I've drilled them bolts off now, as I was saying, down in the splitter there, and I've just put nuts and bolts, going through. So it's not focusing. So now what we're going to do is just tack weld them, tack weld the nuts in place. I'll show you what it looks like underneath. There we go. They're just going to have longer. They're going to be a bit longer bolts, and also big repair washers on them. Like sort of that sort of size, so it doesn't punch through the carbon, because this is going to be made out of carbon. So, but yeah, nice and strong now. So as you've just seen from that little time-lapse bit, they're drilled off, and I've just tack welded, probably too much weld, but just welded the nuts on the back, so they can bolt in. A couple of them are stiff. I must have got a bit too much heat in the nuts, but they'll be right. So next up, we've got this oil cooler to mount. So I put a picture in the screen. When I've had the bumper on, if we rewind back to Run What You Brung and the initial years, I used to have the radiator on this side and the turbo up over there. So, and the oil cooler went in front of the radiator, but bolted to these holes here. That's what the holes are drilled for the brackets. So it used to be in line with this slam panel there. So anyway, can't have it in that location, so then we moved it down lower to this location, if you remember, but it's a bit vulnerable. With me sliding off onto the grass and stuff, I've had a couple of close calls where I'm like, shit, have I done the oil colouring? Obviously you don't know until the engine stops working. No, the ECU pulls it. But anyway, new location. When I put a picture in the screen now, but when we had the bumper on, when we just had it on the grill, I looked through the grill, took a picture, and I realised the oil cooler needs to sit either just a little bit above that radiator line, which puts it too far forward, so we're going to sit it just below that line so that it can sit sort of back into that recessed area sort of bit there. So, dog's trying to get out. So what I've come up with is this. We've repurposed some of the old bracketry you know, off the bottom. So it's good, that's going to sit there like that. And then we've got these like little Merkle, the OEM brackets, and I've just, it's not focusing, but I've just cut it down, and that's going to weld straight on the top there like that. And then that's obviously going to go and bolt into there. So yeah, I think you get the idea. This is obviously going the other way around, but it's got a bit of oil in it and it keeps leaking, so I don't want to, you know, turn it round to mock it up. It's the same shape, top and bottom, so we can just mock it up that way. And then, but yeah, the pipes are going to be going off. The pipes are there. They're just going to be going off the bottom. I might have to make up some new lines, make it a bit shorter, save a bit of weight. But you get the idea. So let's weld these on top of there now. Got two of them. Got that one as well. Obviously you won't see the Merkle sign on that one because it's going to be the wrong way around. Oh no, yeah, wrong way around. It's going to be that way. That way on that side and that way on that side, so you'll see on that one, but not that that matters. Let's weld it. So I've just tacked them on for the time being, but that's where it's going to go. Obviously just the other way around. I think the radiator is out of plumb a little bit. Either that or I've made the legs too the wrong size. My guess is, I don't know. Anyway, I'll get all that welded up, weld it to the frame there, and then I might put another tab on the bottom here, just so it's got 4, you know, mount locations. Painted, tick. Next little job we've got to do, well, we've got loads of jobs, but this, I've just had a bit of a tidy up here. It was covered in, I've been on the chop saw cutting stuff up, and it absolutely blathers everything. But next little job, we've got to swap over that mangled bottom piece. So, issue with these, I remember, if you remember back when my wheel snapped, this was when I first got sponsored by BC, my wheel snapped at Cadwell, and BC sent me one of these lower collars, and it was all mangled the same, and I remember I had to cut it off, but luckily, touch wood, this one is coming off all right. I have had to cut it a bit with a grinder, you know, cut like this section off here, so that I could get the vice in to sort of unoval that, if that makes sense, just to let it, because it had pinched, like nipped up on the threads. But yeah, it's freed off now, so we're going to swap that over. That took some turning, but that's off. That's mangled. Would you look at that? It's all bent and twisted. That's what I just nipped up on the bottom of the threads just enough to make it really tight to get off. But yeah, I've just had to cut that lower sort of portion off there, just so I could get that in, you know, in the edge of the vise like that. You know, to be able to sort of oval it best I could. But anyway, yeah, scrap pile for that. I might keep it actually and put it with the. We need to make some sort of like wall. Maybe not here, it's not big enough, but somewhere where all the smashed up parts. We've got like, that's the wheel I was just on about from Cadwell. We've got that. Got an old clutch. Yeah, we should have somewhere to keep all these broken parts. I won't bin that. I'll put it somewhere up there. There we go. Next to the old BC little, I don't know what it is, pen holder thing. It's got a little forged wheel and a little. I had these on a competition the other day. You know, like on online, but they move up and down anyway. The actual adjusters actually turn and everything, but yeah, we'll leave that there. Next little job while we're in here, wheel bearing. The wheel bearing's just turned up, and we already had the hub. So this is not normally I'd do this on a press, but I know they go in relatively easily, so I'm just gonna vise it. It's fine. Some wheel bearings are a nightmare, and you can't do it like this. You have to do it with a press, but I know these ones go in, well, touch wood, where's some wood? Touch wood. They usually go in alright. So we're going to get that pressed in and then get all the hub built back up. That is the bit that needs to go in. We might have difficulties with that because we've got to get the inner race off, but might have to get a puller. But yeah, let's get on with it. Oh, we've got that to do as well. Swap that spherical bearing over because we've got a hard race spherical bearing in there, and this needs pressing out, so I might actually need to go and press it out tomorrow. What was I just saying? They usually go in relatively easily. That one was a bit tight, but it did it anyway. Bent the handle a bit more on the old vise, but it's in. So it's in and it's not damaged. So we've just got the snap ring to put in now. It's been a while since I've done these, I'm not gonna lie. So I think they just push in. Oh. He says, let me get a screwdriver on it. A nice sharp one. This is the point that he stabs himself in the hand or takes his eye out. Oh, leave it. Clip. Sorted. So there we go. Bearing in. Nice new bearing. So now just a case of putting the seals. So we've got. Let me remember which way. The seal with the flange goes on the back side, I believe, and then the seal without the flange, this one, goes on the front side like that. This one goes that way around, you know, a little weird lip that way around. I think, can't actually remember, but flange side down, yeah, that way around, sorry. But we don't need to put them, we need to put that one in now. Then we can put the thing that bolts into these four bolts here, the actual hub where the handbrake goes on, that can go on next. Then we can press this hub section in, you know, where the wheel bolts, and then we can finally put that seal on the back. So for this, I just use some sort of flat tool implement. I guess anything really, flat and steel, like I'm not going to use this, but something, you know, cylindrical and flat, and then just tap it in so that it's flush all the way around. By some wizardology, where is it? I've pressed the old bush, the new bush, that's brand new, come in the hub. Some people will probably say it's criminal, but upgrades and all. So the new one's pushed out of the new hub there, and then the hard race one I've pushed out of the hard race one. Looks a bit knackered, but it's actually sound, it's not that old. So that's a spherical bearing, and that's just going to get pushed straight back into there. So we'll do that now. Success. If anyone's interested, Halford's 30mm socket multi-point fits perfectly, along with a I don't know what that's off, but it's oh yeah, I do actually. It's the V band for the external wastegate GFB 44mm, the one that comes off the manifold. Yeah, but I've just put that the same as I did the old one, half and half, you know, each side sticking out. But yeah, that's that done. We can bolt the hub bit on now and then press the centre part in. So the final piece to this puzzle, to the wheel bearing puzzle anyway, is we're going to press this. We're going to press this hub, you know, the bit that the wheel bolts to, into the bearing. You obviously got to support the back of the inner roller bearing, taper bearing, whatever, you know what I mean. But to do that, we've got to take the old inner race off from the old bearing, which is still stuck on this hub. So we'll whip all these little bolts out. They are, what mil is this? 5mm Allen head, and the torque spec on them I'll put in the screen now when we're tying them back up. It's not very much. I'm sure it's like 13 Newton meters maybe, and you can quite easily crack. I've done it before. Crack one of the, you know, this ABS ring here that we've just taken off. So this is what that's the piece that comes off, like it's, let me show you. It's like a alloy ring, I think it's alloy. I mean, the rust on it would lead me to believe it's steel, but yeah. So we're going to, that's off, put to the side. So now we can press this hub off. Do you know, this hub, the inner race off. So you can either cut it with a grinder, you know, keep going and going and going, and just until it's just enough through and it comes off, or you can heat it up with oxyacetylene, or you can put it in the visor and pry it off. I've not quite decided which route I'm going to take yet. We'll have a go at prying it, I think. A bearing puller would be the easiest. So I'm going to have to pop to my mates to whip that off. I've taken the seal off. I could grind it and then pull it off, but yeah, I'll whip to my mates, and he's got oxyacetylene. I'll just heat it up with oxyacetylene, and then it'll just expand and come off nice and easy. So I'm going to do that. I've got to go there and change the tyres onto the new rims anyway. So what we'll do the next bit, is, I need to remember to take all this, we'll bolt this plate, you know, the actual hub back on, because that has to go back on. I've done that before now. I fitted her hub before I've put the either the ABS ring or this plate back on, so we'll get that back on now so that it's, so I don't forget. We've had some more deliveries turn up. We've had quite a productive day today, so we've been and fitted the, as you've just seen, the hub, the bearing, sorry. So bearings all on, fitted, complete. We've fitted one of the tyres onto the new rims. Luckily the tyre's not damaged. I inspected it all. You will have just seen that in the time lapse. Balanced up quite nice as well. Limited amount of lead on there. We've just got a new EIS radiator, which is exactly the same as the one that was on there previously. It's just from Europarts. EIS, a German branded one. Yeah, I've just got to cut some brackets off the bottom because we don't have the fans on there, if you remember. Tub of coolant, and we've just had 2 more deliveries. We've had the new ball joint bolts, you know, for the pinch bolts that go in the hub to keep the ball joints in, because if you remember me saying the threads had worn out on the ones that were in there. Just got them to swap over. And then the fun part, which is the laminating resin, mixing tubs, and some brushes. And I've got all the rest of the stuff down there. So, yeah, that is for the next episode and fitting the other bits. So I'll see you then. Take it easy.